Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal, and if you're new here, I do videos on faith, lifestyle, and now teaching. So as you read by the title, this video is going to be on lesson planning. I am a first year teacher. To be specific, I'm a gym teacher, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have been thrown into the same situation that I have been in. You're just kind of hired in the beginning of the school year or mid-school year and kind of just thrown into the fire and trying to survive. I got hired in November, my first teaching job. Prior to this, I was working as an EMT in the medical field. So it's a very different change. I do have to say I am so in love with my job. Although it was very tough, I have very tough kids, very tough school district, and just kind of the state that I was just, thrown into the fire. But I'm always up for a good challenge. So I just love my job. It's very rewarding at the end of the day, which is my favorite thing about it. But enough of the talking. If you're here for this video, which is lesson planning, and I'll be showing you how I do that as a specials teacher, as a first year teacher. And if this method works for you, then let me know in the comments. If you have any other methods and any other advice that you can give me, because I'm still continuing to learn, then definitely please leave those in the comments below. And you can also leave it for other people too if they come across this video. Any tips that you have for first year teachers, everything is going to be linked in the description box. Without further ado, let's just get right into the video. As you see here, this is my quarterly lesson plans for grades 6 through 8. I also have my quarterly lesson plans on the same document. I already have it done for 4th and 5th grade, my upper elementary students. So that's already done. So I'm going to be showing you how I do my middle school. I have it set up in 10 weeks just because a quarter is 10 weeks for my school. You can definitely set it up depending on your school, which I would recommend. I like this layout because it kind of gives an overview of what you will be doing throughout the quarter. So when you are lesson planning, you know exactly what subject you're going to be doing. Unless, of course, you are falling behind, then this format would just work, but you would have to edit it afterwards. The way I go about labeling and figuring out what I'm going to do each week is going to the Shape America standards, which is the national curriculum for PE. So this is the Shape America grade level outcomes. This is what physical education curriculum standard in the US. So I already know that going all the way down, I'm going to pass elementary, going to go right into middle school, which is page 25. So for grades 6 through 8, I do normally just look at grade 8 because I do want my 6th and 7th graders to be advanced in their skills. If I know that they're not as advanced as 8th grade, then that would be at grade level, unless I'm exhibiting something very much unlike their grade level competency. Then of course that would be a red flag, and I would have to move backwards some steps with that specific student. But for the most part, I really only look at grade 8 and what they should be able to do by grade 8, so that way I can practice it with grade 6 and 7. So by the time they're at grade 8, it's really not new to them, and they're very used to these kinds of games, those kinds of skills. They get more practice. So back to how I plan throughout the quarter. I look at this column here where it shows the standard. So this column is going to show you whether it's standard 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, whatever it is. So standards 1 through 5. Games and sports, invasion games. You want to focus on throwing, you want to focus on catching, passing, and receiving. These are all incorporated in invasion and field games. It'll usually also give you some specific games, such as right here where it says lacrosse or hockey. It could be field hockey, it could be floor hockey, ice hockey, etc. if you do have an ice rink. So it could also, you can also do that. Standard 2, this is just basically being aware of the space, creating space with movement, creating space with offensive tactics. You want to make sure that your students are being able to use up the space that they have, and if they are confined, making sure that they're playing safely within those spaces, and making sure, like I said, using all the space that they have, so width, length, the size and shape, doing things like creating a invasion game where they can only catch a ball within a shape within a boundary that is in the shape of a circle or the shape of a square, regardless of how big your gym is. Stuff like that. That's what this would be regarding. Standard 3. This, I really like incorporating it throughout the year, especially doing it in posters like posted on the wall. So you do have to give the reason why you are teaching these things and why it's healthy for their bodies and how they can stay physically active outside of the school. Standard 4 is definitely safety. Basically, being responsible, playing safe, and being able to accept constructive criticism from others, as well as being able to work as a team and working well with others. So this I would incorporate in the first week for sure, but definitely throughout the quarter. And standard 5 is mainly health and reproductive, and just making sure that you're telling them like, hey, exercise is very important for your physical health, but not only your physical health, your mental health as well. Right, so knowing standard 1 is basically what I go off of for my quarterly. I only go off of standard 1. What do I need to teach my students throughout the quarter in standard 1? Because this is basically everything that we're going to be going over. So, team building games are a must because they learn to work as a team. They also learn my expectations, which already knocks out standard 1 and standard 5, like we saw. And let's see, week 2, I'm going to go to my standard, and I'm going to see the first one on here is invasion games, and that's a very popular thing that the standard goes over, invasion games. So I'm just going to write here that I'm going to be doing invasion games. I also want to make sure that I'm being specific with what I'm going to be doing as well, so throwing and catching. And I also like to give an example of what kind of sport would I want as an invasion game. What's a good sport that they do invade? What's a good sport that does involve a lot of throwing and catching that these kids are going to be able to do? And I'm going to be able to teach them. And that would be football. So from here, I'm going to fill everything else out, and then I will be right back to show you guys exactly my process on my weekly planning. As an example here, I have team building for grades 4 through 8. This is something that works for really all the grades, K through 12, which is why I love this plan so much. This layout is what's worked best for me because it is a weekly layout. If you like daily layouts, then that's up to you, but I find this to be the best. A weekly layout, and then it goes into something that has a daily routine as well. So I have here on the left-hand side components. These are just what basically my school wants in every single lesson. They want an objective, they want an opening, and then they want what the activity it is that we're going to be doing, and then they want a closing. So of course, in gym, opening would be the warm-up, what you'll be doing. Before the warm-up, the activity will be the actual activity, and then the closing would just be the cool down. So for Monday, this whole week, we're going to be focusing on team building. You always need your name, what course it is, the unit that you're going to be doing, and then you always want the date on your lesson plans. That's just how I've always been taught. So this week, we're going over team building. So everything here says team building at the top. Next thing is the paragraph right under that, basically stating what do you want them to gain from this day of team building or of any activity or unit that you are going over. What do you want them to go home with that day? I want them to learn that the whole week. So I'm going to put that for the whole week. I've also added by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they'll be able to identify these vocabulary words. I got this idea from the same teacher that actually sent me this layout. I copied it from her, so thank you, Christine, if you're watching this video. Thank you so much. I've also copied this from her as well. She likes to give vocabulary words to her students, and I just think that using these kinds of words here, I have them posted in my gym as well, where they can get a lot more motivated and just a new aspect on life, and incorporating that within your games. I am definitely the type of teacher that if I teach you something, it's not just for the classroom, it's as a life skill. So I do like doing this. It's been great so far. My students actually do enjoy it. Next thing I have is the learning target. Learning target is basically just the description of what you'll be doing. So this said standard 4. So let me go to standard 4. And it's this little excerpt here that I just put in my own words as the learning target, and then I'll put the standard right here. MACF is the Massachusetts Comprehensive Health Curriculum Framework. This is like for every other subject, I believe. So I just go down to, I know page 27 is physical activity and fitness. And then I'll just see by the end of grade 5, they should have all these down. And then by the end of grade 8, which is what I'm focusing on, they should have all of these down. So I put 2.7 because they're 6th through 8th grade, but obviously 8th graders do need to demonstrate responsible personal and social conduct used in a physical activity setting. So I'll include that here as what I really want them to gain. And this is honestly just repetitive because it's 1 week of team building. So learning target for Wednesday would be accepting feedback and working well with others, which is standard here. And then personal responsibility, and same thing here. Fridays, I usually do fun Fridays or free time Fridays, whichever is more catchy, honestly. I interchange both of them. And then if they earn it, they get independent play, which is within the standard of standard 1. M24. Next thing I have is the opening. So this is kind of like a script of what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to greet students at the threshold, which is the entrance. They're going to place their bag down and sit in the court wherever they want. I'm then going to go over safety, attitude, expectations and warnings, the routine, and finally incentives. So this is exactly what you're going to do before the class, before you begin your activity. I just include this before the warm-up, and then I'll include the warm-up, like I have right here, in the activity. So this time they did bridge ball, evens and odds, Jenga, stuff like that. So you can look at that there. That was the activity that they're doing. And then they do a quick cool down, which I go over in detail what I'm going to be doing for the cool down. And this is basically what I do every single day to cool down. But yeah, that is the weekly setup. So that concludes this video. Alright you guys, that concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was really helpful, especially for you new teachers that are just thrown into the fire like I was. I got a lot of support and help from other teachers, and that is definitely my advice. Do not be prideful. Do not be afraid to ask for help. In the environment that you're in and you're just being thrown into the fire as a first-year teacher, or as someone who just doesn't have a background or any experience in teaching, especially with today's society, honestly, and the way that these kids are, I love them, but they are hard. They are very hard-headed. It feels like they have no morals, but take it one day at a time. Do not stress yourself out. Ask for help. Ask for help. It's always better to go and ask for help, and if they don't give you any advice, then that's on them. But they know that you are trying your best if you ask for help, and that is all that matters. I hope that this video helped you. I hope that this helps you in your lesson planning. If you just don't know where to start, that this is helping you. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you next time I see you. Bye.